As most people probably know by now, Project Veritas, with the help of undercover operatives and a whistleblower, recently exposed Google as being an extremist left-wing organisation pushing a clear political agenda. Not that this wasn't already obvious, it's just that now we have rock-solid proof. For those of you who've been living under a rock, this is a quick summary. A Google insider leaked a document that shows Google built what they call machine learning fairness into their algorithms. Like many things Orwellian, this sounds nice enough, but once you look at it closely, the truth is glaringly obvious. When Google say fairness, they don't mean all ideas have an equal chance at exposure, nor do they mean promoting factual or accurate information. What they mean is they promote their own opinions and views over others. In leaked undercover footage, a Google executive explains that fairness means fairness with relation to, quote, traditionally marginalised communities. In other words, they are now on record promoting a cultural Marxist view of the world and building it into their algorithms. That means the average search results have a highly political slant, and it's always to the left. The executive explained that the tech company are working hard to prevent a, quote, Trump situation in 2020. This supports evidence presented by the whistleblower, who explained what they are doing and provided documented evidence to prove it. This also fits with the leaked footage showing a dismayed Google leadership shortly after Trump's victory in 2016. It makes sense that they'd rig algorithms to favour their worldview. After all, they stated that this is essentially what they wanted to do. There's more to it, and you can follow a link in the description to view the full report. YouTube censored the video because it tells too much truth, but you can view it and download it on the Project Veritas website. It's prompted responses from senators and President Donald Trump. Given tech are now openly working against the Republicans, you'd think this would now spur them to serious action. It even provoked a hilarious Twitter response from YouTube themselves, who, despite being completely found out, continue to deny the truth of the matter. The post got majorly ratioed, and the thread below is hilarious. Read it if you need a good laugh. But YouTube said, quote, "We've had a lot of questions today, clarifying we apply our policies fairly and without political bias. All creators are held to the same standard." End quote. So everyone is held to what they deem the same standard, which is ridiculous given what we know, but probably isn't a lie, as many people understandably believe. At least it's not intentionally dishonest. As George Costanza famously stated, it's not lying if you believe it. They probably do hold everyone to exactly the same standard. There's just a small problem with this. Just because you hold everyone to the same standard doesn't mean the standards are neutral, fair, or just. As an example, for a long time, society saw left-handed people as somehow evil or unnatural. Now, imagine if a king one day declared it illegal to use your left hand as dominant in any activity. Sure, the law holds everyone to the same standard because nobody's allowed to use their left hand in an illegal manner, but would this affect everyone equally? No, of course it wouldn't. It would overwhelmingly disadvantage the 10% of people who are left-handed. The king could legitimately claim he was treating everyone equally under the law, but the law itself is completely lacking in balance or neutrality. Applying this to tech companies, they all have rules against what they deem hate speech that everyone is subject to. Yet, as with the law in the previous example, this only affects people who fall afoul of it. Given the concept of hate speech is just a leftist fabrication and really means any opinion the left hates, that means they only hurt people who aren't on the political left. The rules themselves are biased. This is why they tend to only hurt nationalists, conservatives, and other so-called right-wingers. You can even see this when they claim to promote what they deem authoritative news sources. Sure, the algorithm holds everyone to the same standard, but unless it considers you authoritative, it won't promote your content, thus it suppresses you. In other words, all content creators are equal, it's just that some content creators are more equal than others. A neutral platform is a platform that has no bias at all. No bias in the algorithms, no bias in the enforcement of rules, and certainly no bias in the rules themselves. If YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or any other tech media company want to be a neutral public forum, they'd first need to remove any hate speech rules. Like it or not, people have the right to be bigoted, to be hateful, to say mean-spirited things, and even to just be dicks in general. They don't have the right to harass, defame, or call to violence, but there are already laws against these actions. You also have the right to ignore, block, or present counter-arguments. Debate is supposed to work like that, and may the best ideas win. Sure, this might mean some disinformation, and if people want to make it illegal for public figures to lie, I'd be all for it. That means no more claiming diversity as a strength, no more pushing dishonest global warming scares, no more claiming immigration is good for the economy, and no false promises by politicians ever again. You'd still be able to express an opinion or be wrong, but you'd have to show you did your due diligence and weren't outright lying. If this is what people want to propose, I'd be all for it, but we aren't in a position where we could enact this kind of policy just yet. As such, the best standard we have is the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, and there is no reason at all that this can't be the standard for a platform like YouTube. It's much better to let people decide what's true for themselves than allow a handful of tech oligarchs to decide for us. If people are worried about vulgarity or other objectionable content, the solution could simply be to make YouTube 18+ and problem solved. You can't say think of the children if children are banned from the platform. What's clear is that these companies are no longer neutral public forums as they were supposed to be, and they haven't been for years now. They are publishers pushing an extremist left-wing political ideology whilst claiming neutrality. They should prove said neutrality by making all algorithms public and removing any biased rules. Or we should treat them as publishers for liability purposes and let the courts take care of it. We all have the right to not only express ourselves, but to hear new ideas and make our own minds up. By hiding content and banning opinions, tech oligarchs are denying this fundamental right. Our ancestors fought and died for our liberty. Nothing gives unelected tech oligarchs moral justification to spit on their sacrifice. Thanks to Project Veritas and these brave tech whistleblowers, we are now seeing a real reaction from high-ranking politicians, and it's about time. Google are actively working against a Trump victory in 2020. This is election meddling, and unless Trump and the Republicans hold them to account, they deserve to lose. I hope you enjoyed the video, share the truth around, and I'll see ya when I see ya.